Hello everyone. In this video, we will analyze the Indian Express of 25th May. So let's start with the newspaper. First news is that 20 opposition parties announced boycott of new house inauguration by Prime Minister. So the reason why this particular thing happened was because the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has decided to inaugurate the new parliament building by himself. Now this decision completely sidelines the President Draupadi Murmu. And this is the reason why these parties announced boycott of this new parliament house. They also said that this particular decision by the Prime Minister of India insults the high office of the President and violates the letter and spirit of the Constitution. Now let's see the next news. So next news is that G20 about G20 leaders. So G20 nations should take lead in formulating disaster risk mitigation strategies that can play a decisive role in limiting the fallout from natural disasters. Now देखिए why this particular thing is happening, क्यों G20 leaders participate कर रहे हैं to form disaster risk mitigation strategies is because यहाँ पे एक रिपोर्ट लॉन्च किया है वर्ल्ड रिस्क इंडेक्स ने. So let's see. In the current World Risk Index, 4 out of the top 10 vulnerable countries are G20 nations. And this is the reason why G20 nations are thinking about formulating a disaster risk mitigation strategies because they are the one who are part of these top 10 vulnerable countries. So the reason is important and the organization. Now let's see what is the next news. So railway struggles to meet Vande Bharat number speed targets. So the static news related to this particular event is that according to budget in the recent budget, central government even the Prime Minister said that 75 Vande Bharat express trains should be joined by August 15. And this is why the railway department struggles to meet this particular number, and that is why this news came. So you have to just remember that union budget talks about 75 Vande Bharat train by August 15. Next news is about National Board for Wildlife. Now this particular event happened that NHIA gets not to build e-way stretch through forest area. The important thing here is that which particular states they are crossing. So Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, and the eco-sensitive zone of Kodingya Wildlife Sanctuary and Rayala Elephant Reserve under the NHAI Bharatmal project. Now let's see the next news, which is explained section. So this is very important. First one is about the culture section, which talks about Chola Singhal tradition seen with Nehru now in new parliament. So recently Amit Shah has announced that Prime Minister Modi will install a historic scepter from Tamil Nadu next to the Lok Sabha seat. Now the historic idea, the history attached to this particular scepter is that Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru accepted Singhal at around 10:45 p.m. of August 14, 1947 through the Adhiman of Tamil Nadu. It was actually a sign of the shift of power from Britishers to the people of our country. So the idea was given by C. Rajgopalachari, who was very much inspired from the tradition of Chola dynasty. And in this dynasty, this symbol was used as the handover of the Singhal from one king to the successor. Now let's talk about the next news, which is about legal questions in narco test. So Brij Bhushan, the accused of sexual harassment, had earlier said that he was ready to take a narco test or any other lie detector test if Vinesh Fogat and Bajrang Punia would do so too. So this is the reply of this particular event, that these wrestlers have said that they are willing to take participation in this narco test. So the main idea is about what is the difference between narco and polygraph test. This is just important for you. So when you talk about narco test, a drug is injected into the body of the accused, which basically transport them to a hypnotic or sedated state in which their imagination is neutralized. Now, in this hypnotic state, the accused is expected to divulge information that is very much true. The drug that has been used in this test is called sodium pentothal, which is also known as sodium thiopental, and it is also actually known as truth serum, which are also used by intelligence operatives in the World War II. Now, the Difference between narco test and polygraph test is that no drugs are injected into the body during polygraph test. Now, if we see the past situations where narco analysis tests were used, it was in 2002 Gujarat riot case, or you can say that 2611 Mumbai terror case. But in 2010, the Supreme Court ruled on the legality and admissibility of this narco test. So the first case, which is in Selvi and others versus state of Karnataka and another, a Supreme Court bench said that no lie detector test should be administered except on the basis of consent of the accused. Those who volunteer must have access to a lawyer and have the physical, emotional, and legal implications of the test explained to them by the police and the lawyer. The court also relied on the guidelines for the administration of polygraph test on an accused, which is published by NHCR in 2000 itself. Now, the court in this judgment also recognized the fundamental right, which is Article 20, Clause 3, which talks about right against self incrimination. Now, if we discuss the post 2006 ruling, some of the rulings also talks about the importance of this test in the society, right? So, if we go to the Dinesh Dalmia versus State, the Madras High Court said that since the accused did not come forward with the truth, the scientific test resorted to by the investigating agency did not amount to testimonial compulsion. The court said that when there is hue and cry from the public and the human rights activists that the investigating sleuths adopt third degree methods to extract information from the accused, it is high time the investigating agency took recourse to scientific methods of investigation. In 2008 case, which is Shailendra Sharma versus State and another, the court said that it is necessary to keep in mind the need of a thorough and proper investigation as against individual rights while ensuring that constitutional rights are not infringed. They also said that this tests do not suffer from any constitutional infirmity and are a step in aid of investigation. So basically, the court approved this idea, and they talks about that this narco test is actually a step in aid of the investigation, right? Now, in conclusion, if we discuss the evidentiary value of this test, which is that the result of narco tests are not considered confessions, since those in a drug-induced state cannot exercise their choice in answering questions put to them. That is why the evidentiary value is not there. But Supreme Court in 2010 ruling clarified that any information or material that is subsequently discovered with the help of a voluntary administered test results can be admitted in accordance with the section 27 of the Evidence Act. Now let's understand this thing with this example. So suppose if an accused reveals the location of a physical piece of evidence in the course of a narco test, and the police later finds out that the specific piece of evidence at that location. Now the state in this case, the statement of the accused will not be treated as evidence, but the physical evidence that these investigating agency will found at that place by this statement will be valid as an evidence. So this is what legal questions in narco test was all about. So this is all about the newspaper analysis on 25th May. Thank you.